Special event alert.
Every time I quickly stop for a Coke and chips, I get behind someone verifying their lottery ticket. Which is excuse number 147 for being late. No, 154 for being late for Changeover, your weekly space news and variety show. I'm your host, Marty Smith, and I'm joined by Mr. History, Eric Brown.
Man, I got to tell you, it's like every time you go into a fast food place or a 7-Eleven, a Costco, I need 18 freaking tickets, and here are the 4 ones that I think I won, and trick these 100 that are losers for me.
Yeah, right. And it's like, I got $1.50 on this thing. So, every time.
Certainly will make you late for changeover.
If they work that hard at doing their lotto, at their own job, they wouldn't need the lotto. Anyway.
Yeah, retirement would be on the horizon, man. Look out.
We're here to bring you the latest headlines and updates pertinent to all Guardians and to the other lesser branches as well. So take your seats, get informed, and have a laugh, because...
From the Rockies to the Space Coast, Late for Changeover is here with the guys to shake the skies.
Shake the skies.
I know it's a little silly. Because we're talking space. There's no sky in space, but I guess you got to go through it.
Skies.
No. Speaking of shaking in the skies, holy shit, right? Blue Origin.
Oh, wait a minute. Before you start.
Oh, sorry.
We have to say Jake.
Oh, that's right. Jake.
You have to mention the Jakester in the closet who's not joining us tonight.
That's right. Our man in the closet is on overseas assignment. So
hanging in the Orient.
Arigato.
Arigato.
Jake. Can I say Jay's? Jake.
I
guess so. Yeah. But Wald, I can't say his last name.
No, I'm sure. Have a good time, Jake. We miss you, brother.
Did you see? I think Jake sent that Instagram. I think it was the Instagram one, but where they dub Kim Jong-un or or whatever his name is. Have you seen those videos where he's walking around the troops and they dub his voice?
Yep.
And he always cracks a joke at the end, and he's like, instead of LOL, it's rawr.
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 Different. That's awesome.
But back to Shaking the Skies is our first story from space.com. Holy cow. I know I sent you that video, but when I saw it, I was like, whoa, that was enormous, right?
I am so surprised that there weren't people laying all over the place dead.
Right. That was huge. They said that you could even see it from space.
Yeah. So, amazing how big that explosion was.
It was. And we are talking about Blue Origin's or Amazon's New Glenn rocket. So it blew up on May 28th during a test of their fuel system or something like that. Or a rocket test right before they're supposed to.
Well, it lit up like a Roman candle.
It did not pass the test. So this story from space.com is how Blue Origin's rocket explosion affects NASA's moon plans. Right? So NASA thought they would be smart, and they were smart, to be honest with you. They're like, hey, we're going to farm this out. And I think they did. They went out to Blue Origin, which is Bezos's company, and of course Musk's SpaceX. There's a third one. I can't remember who it is, but
that's the blonde-haired guy, Virgin or whatever his name.
Oh yeah. What was that? What is theirs? I don't. It's not. Is it Virgin? I don't think.
His airplane is. I don't think it's the friggin'.
No, right. That's right.
But it's the same guy.
So they're like, we're going to outsource this. We're not going to do any of it. We're going to go just to these civilian companies. Well, we'll see. I mean, those plans that was smart, but now they're just like, oh my God, we are snake bit on this thing.
Yeah. Right? Especially when it's televised. Like,
Oh yeah, that was
Right?
so. And it was
Holy
so.
cow.
It was enormous. Thank God, nobody was on it. No payload was on it.
Yeah.
Because it took out that whole launch complex too. So
Nothing left.
nothing. They had images from space of like a kilometer around it was just scorched.
What equivalent of what? What did it say? 300 ton TNT?
Is that what it said? Oh, I didn't see that. Was
I
it
think
really?
they said equivalent of 300 ton TNT. Or
See-
no. That was
No.
that stupid meteor that hit the other day.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
that was the 300 ton.
I was gonna bring that up. When they say TNT as a unit of measure, it's almost like when they use horsepower as a unit of measure. I have no relativism about it at all. When they go 300 tons of TNT, and I'm like, it sounds like a lot, but what is 1 pound of TNT? I don't know.
Yeah. And when you say 300 tons, well, for me,
yeah, right.
it's like 300 elephants. Okay, that's pretty big.
I know horsepower now. I mean, Seinfeld had a whole bit. I'm not trying to steal his thing on horsepower, but I know it relative to go, oh, that Nissan Z car has 300 horsepower. You're like, okay, that's pretty damn fast, right?
Yeah.
So I get the relativism of it, but I don't know how much a horsepower is.
Right.
One horsepower or a 2 horsepower engine.
Yeah.
Anyway,
a bear versus an alligator bite. Pounds per square inch.
There's that one too. It's like what's a fathom or an acre? Anyway. The recent explosion of Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket during a routine test is a big setback for the private spaceflight company and will likely have implications for NASA's Artemis program timeline and the nation's efforts to return astronauts to the surface of the moon. The May 28th incident, in which no one was injured, occurred while Blue Origin prepared its 4th New Glenn rocket for launch as static test fire of the vehicle's engines. Okay, that's what it was. At Launch Complex 36, located at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida, was the rocket's last major milestone before liftoff targeted for tomorrow. It was supposed to be the 4th, right? Or Thursday. During that test, however, an explosion destroyed the rocket and severely damaged launch infrastructure on the ground. The payload, they were actually going to send that Amazon LEO internet satellites. So I don't know what, I guess a whole new constellation up there Amazon was going to put up. But they were not aboard during this test. So Amazon was like,
good thing.
Yeah, thank God. Satellite imagery shows charred vegetation stretched out in nearly every direction around the half-mile wide New Glenn pad. Blue Origin leases LC-36, which is located at Cape Canaveral. Visible damage across the scorched facility, now in ruin, can be seen on the launch tower, flame trench, and other support systems. They said that they don't know when they can have that back up. They were going to start on a second New Glenn launch facility, but that was like 2 years away.
I wonder, can you imagine what the cost is just to put the pad to a working order?
Right. Well, now, is it easier to build one? Should we just that one's so bad, let's just keep building a new
build one over here? Yeah. I mean,
or to renovate, right?
Because you got to pull all that crap out.
You got to destroy and then rebuild, right? This one's like, well, we'll just keep building this one. But so, and that's without them even doing the internal what went wrong part.
What caused it? Yeah.
So once they figured that out, then they got to do the engineering to prevent that. And then they got to recertify and all this other stuff. Meanwhile, they don't have any place to launch from, which I find interesting that they can't, these rockets that they're building, they're not just like, oh, we'll build it to launch anywhere, right? Using any tower. It's universal. We could launch it in, here, Russia, South America, wherever. And they're like, nope, we got to have specifics. And I'm like, that seems fairly limiting, especially when you blow one up, the only one you got. So
yeah. And what do you think the impact of Bezos was? Does that hurt his income stock?
he's not a trillionaire, is he?
No, I think he's billion, pretty heavy,
Pretty
duty
high
billionaire.
billionaire.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, that's got to suck.
it's got to pull some of that.
Obviously,
What do you
right?
think?
But I would imagine. Yeah, I would imagine.
Company's got to take a hit, I would assume, stock wise.
But I mean, that the space branch is just leeching off of the Amazon site, right? So
True.
all the other stuff they got going, it's just like, oh man. Well, we'll just have to wait a little bit longer and get those billions back, and then I don't know. Well, Artemis, the whole NASA Artemis program, it aims to create a sustained human presence with the base on the moon, eventually develop technologies that can support crewed missions to Mars. The agency selected Blue Origin and SpaceX to support that effort, contracting each company to design and build lunar landers capable of delivering astronauts to the moon's surface and launching them back to lunar orbit to rendezvous with NASA's Orion spacecraft. So, that's Boeing. Boeing's the other one, right? Right?
I hope not.
Well, Starliner or whatever. But I don't know if they were doing lift. I think they were just designing the capsules. So
I don't think there was a lift for those guys either.
Well, the first of those lunar landing missions is Artemis 4, which NASA hopes to launch in 2028. Artemis 3 is a stepping stone to that achievement, but one which relies on at least one lunar lander making it to space. And right now, Blue Origin's contribution, the Blue Moon lander, has no way of getting there.
Hello. And why redundancy? What the hell happened to redundancy? Why wouldn't you have a backup rocket?
Well, I don't know. Maybe because it's so goddamn expensive. They're like, ugh. And I know they're racing to try to meet these NASA timelines.
Yeah,
right.
But you think you'd have to a plan B,
redundancy. Well, sure. And they're like, we're building plan B. We're putting a second space pad over here. What do you want? And I'm like, we need that tomorrow. And they're like,
yeah, put that rocket on a pad and let's go.
We're 2 years away from that. So
man,
and that's right now, if timelines hold. So
yeah,
I hear you, but I don't know if they I think they're just trying to race to get that contract, and so as soon as they get something, they're like, go, because NASA wants to get up there like by 2028, something like that. So
yeah.
Anyway, the goal of Artemis 3 is to launch Orion with a crew of astronauts into Earth orbit to rendezvous and dock with one or both of the program's lunar lander. Before a program architecture redesign earlier this year, NASA chose Starship to fly the first Artemis lunar landing mission, but development of SpaceX's mega rocket spacecraft faced its own delays, and NASA has since indicated a willingness to fly with whichever lunar lander can be ready when the time comes to launch the missions ahead.
Someone please build
something that works. The loss of New Glenn and the damage to the rocket's only launch pad now gives SpaceX a potential leg up in that competition. But timelines are just off, right?
Oh, yeah,
for
sure.
If you take a Boeing Starliner, and they're like, that didn't go too well. And then you go, SpaceX, how you doing with Starship? And they're like, okay, you finally got one up suborbital. Not even suborbital. It just did a big loop and came right back in. They're like, when are you going to do it? And they're like, we're hoping next year. Okay, Blue Origin, how you doing? Boom! And you're like, oh my God.
No, you don't have to answer that. We got it.
So I think the redundancy for NASA is all these different companies, right? Imagine if all this was under NASA's
purview.
Yeah, right. And then they would be like, oh, NASA screwed this space capsule up. Oh, they screwed this Starship up. Oh, they just blew a rocket up on the pad.
NASA would be defunded.
The nation would be like, oh my God, what is going on?
We're done with
but
NASA.
Now NASA's like,
not so easy, is it?
Not so easy, fuckers.
That'll teach you.
So, but it's still the best way to go. Instead of stovepiping one way and then hoping that contractor comes through. Now they can just go, okay, whoever's ready, we want to give you $1 billion, but
the whole thing, the whole process makes it so scary to me when you put astronauts on it. When you see a
yeah.
simple test that
Right.
we do all the time,
Right.
I would assume.
Well, did you ever see? It's a long series too, but from the Earth to the Moon. Did you ever watch that series?
I don't
That
think so.
series goes. That's pretty good. It's like remember Apollo 13, that movie?
Yeah.
It's like every show deals with a different kind of major thing that was happening during the space race.
Okay.
And they went through, Gus Grissom and his crew burning up in the rocket itself where they couldn't get out, and all the disasters that they had along the way. But there were fairly few, right? I mean, Apollo 13 could have been a disaster.
Well, and
but
I
those
think
guys
that's
got
even
through,
more
right?
reason why you look at this explosion with Blue Origin and you go, how? What?
Right.
We've been doing these things.
Yeah. But just the littlest thing. I mean, the right stuff. Remember the right stuff?
I do.
I think that was all about the Gemini guys, right?
Yep.
And I remember there was a scene where they kept it was a compilation scene, but they kept seeing all the rockets like explode before the first manned flight, and they're like, ew.
I don't
boom,
want to get
another
on
one.
that thing.
Right. So when Shepard, was it Alan Shepard the first one up? When he was in, I think it was the first one. He was the first one up in space, Alan Shepard, I think. So for him to do that was like, hope your insurance is all caught up because I don't know if I'm coming back.
You got your obituary written, pal?
Oh my God, the guts of those guys to follow through with that stuff.
Yeah. Especially back when you talk about early 60s, man.
Yeah, absolutely. That was badass. And they were blowing up rockets back then, just like we are now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just more
but when that's what I was about to say. But when you look at this one, you're like, oh my God, man.
Right.
That was
a big one. Yeah, that was. I was going to show the video, but it's they've already done podcasts on it, and I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to catch up to it. But it does stretch out NASA's timeline, so more to be seen. We might not be seeing the moon in Trump's last years here. So
I'll be applying for Medicare by then.
Okay, moving on. Didn't we? For this next story that I found,
yes,
it seems like we do an awful lot of casualty evacuation stories, don't we?
In the past year, I would say we certainly have. We've talked about it on a frequent basis.
Yeah, we've talked about all these different drone vehicles or autonomous vehicles, ferrying bodies. Hell, a couple of weeks ago, we had that copter, right?
Yeah.
They were shoving people in, and the RC copter was bringing it back. Well, according to ArmyTimes.com, I forgot the little headline down there. According to ArmyTimes.com, the Army has developed an exoskeleton for lower limb injuries on the battlefield. So Army said, well, if we can't get some robot to bring us back, then you're just going to have to walk the F out. So this is pretty cool if you saw the pictures, which I'll bring up here shortly. Some battlefield wounds like tibia or ankle fractures become deadly when a wounded soldier cannot send firepower down range. Okay. Right.
That makes sense.
I'm just trying to get them off the field. I don't know.
I'm in a lot of pain.
We need your gun back, right? The U.S. Army Medical Research and Development Command is looking to change that with its new Intrepid Battlefield Exoskeleton, or IBEX system, a shoulder-to-foot brace that can be worn to allow injured troops to stand, walk, and shoot when evacuation is impossible or delayed.
That is so cool.
Yeah, that's smart, right? The device was designed to make an injured soldier more self-sufficient so they can move themselves to safety instead of relying on the 2 to 4 additional troops it takes to carry a victim on a litter. The goal, the Army said in a release Wednesday, is to keep more soldiers firing until help arrives. It's like, get on your feet, fire. It's like,
well, you don't care what's going on. Just keep firing.
Don't you want me to lay down and fire? Because I can do that really easy with my banged up legs. So, in combat, Dr. Lee Childers, a senior scientist at Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio, said in combat troops suffered tibia fractures, torn knee ligaments, high-grade ankle sprains, and foot fractures. These are the most common but survivable battlefield injuries. The IBEX enables more walking wounded, which means more warfighters putting bullets down range while providing a smaller target for enemy drones to attack. That it's like the third time they've talked about, we need these wounded guys to keep firing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we need the wounded guys to get off the battlefield.
Out.
Right.
For their DIA versus
right. So here's how it looks, right? Okay, you can't tell too much, but it's just his leg is all in that system.
Yeah.
And he's taking aim and firing. I'd be like, I can walk myself out. That alone helps a ton, right? Oh, did I disappear us? Did you do that?
I don't think so.
All of a sudden our pictures disappeared. And I was like, what? So let me go back to
I wonder if it really has. How bad can the limb be damaged? For instance,
I don't know. That's a good
when you
point.
hurt your leg, right?
Right.
In your accident.
Yeah,
I wonder. I doubt you could have walked that out, right?
Unless like the hip and shoulder took a whole lot of, I didn't have to put the foot down to walk.
Take the weight off of it.
Yeah. I mean, if it could have just been strapped, almost like a crutch,
Sure.
and I could have just put the weight on it. Okay, yeah, maybe I could have walked off of there. But weighing just 7 pounds, the IBEX can fold into the size of a 1 liter bottle. I find that hard. I mean, maybe originally packaging, but if you try to put it back into that small package, it'd be like, I can't get this back in there.
Well, and then you need to start thinking about other applications. I mean, sporting events could have those things on the field now.
Yeah.
Bicycle riders, right?
Well,
day-to-day activities. Put one in the car.
Yeah, but they're not shooting weapons, though, Eric. They're not firing at the other competitors. So
good point. Good point. You're spared. You could be freaking gone. We're not worried about you. Right. You can die.
Yeah, you're just losing a race. No big deal.
Yeah.
Wow. It relieves the pressure on soft tissue, nerves, and blood vessels, and is able to bear body weight. So if it could, you could have a kind of shattered leg and get out of there, I guess, right? Lower leg injuries are often from gunshots or bomb blasts, the Army said, and soldiers suffered many such injuries during the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. They can also be injured operating in rough terrain or bad weather. Troops deployed to combat zones sustained over 22,000 non-amputated lower leg injuries between 2001 and 2018.
Damn.
But, I don't know how from minor to major, I don't know where those categories are. So,
right.
I mean, how many of those are effing soccer at PT? Turn an ankle, leg injury, right?
Yeah.
This project was initiated in 2020, has been tested by the Army, Navy, and Marine Corps, is now on its third round of funding and has been licensed by a commercial partner. So here's the nuts and bolts of it, right? It doesn't really tell you much other than, isn't this just a high-tech splint?
Boy, it sure looks like it. But then I see where your foot is actually elevated off the ground.
It is,
so that gives you that crutch.
So if that's bearing weight and your leg isn't, okay, it's beyond a split now, right?
Yeah.
So if you can walk, I mean, I don't know how far you're expected to walk till the battle's over, I guess. Plus,
well, there are a lot of questions that come into play here. Can you put a tourniquet on? Can you?
Sure. Right.
I mean,
right. But I mean, that whole article was geared towards, get back up on your feet and get your gun back in the fight. And it was like, what if he needs to get down really fast, like behind that short wall, and he's just going to fall over with that damn thing?
Yeah.
So I think I thought maybe the article should have been written more like, okay, they can walk back to the medical collection point.
Get off the front line.
Yeah, get off the front line. And I don't have to go with them, or 3 guys don't have to carry him back there.
Sure.
That makes more sense. Not get up and start firing after we put this thing on.
Yeah.
Like, that's the last thing I want to do, man.
Well, because your leg is still damaged, and if there's any type of breaks where you're
Sure.
through the skin, you're bleeding, you potential blood loss, and
If the enemy had this on, I'd be like, Eric, hit the Frankenstein looking dude out there.
right.
He's an easy target, man.
We'll put him out of commission quick.
Yeah, right. It's like, okay, your leg's set, get back up, bang. So, but yeah, walking out of danger is a lot more valuable than sending two guys or one guy to carry you out of danger.
Good point.
So
Yeah, you're not
where
risking the lives of other people.
That's
yeah.
where it seems like it has its value. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I could certainly see some big pluses from it, but it also brings to level a lot of questions.
Sure, I'm glad they're thinking about it. Somebody's
sure.
It. It's like, why we should do more updated things. Get you off. I mean, if you can walk out, I'm sure there are people like, you need help. He's like, no, I can get out of here now. It's like, okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not leaving my cover. I'm not leaving my cover. Go ahead.
Can you get up and shoot? It's like, F that. I'm getting out of here. All right, Eric. I wish Jake was here because he always likes when we do new stuff.
Yeah.
Or he doesn't like that. I'm not sure. He's always skeptical. But if you can make it past that skepticism, you're good as gold. So
I like this idea.
I thought we'd introduce a new segment tonight called, and I don't have any music for it. I wish I did.
What are we calling it?
Timeline of War.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, Timeline of War. And tonight, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to walk down the wars because we all know the battles, right? We all know Ia Drang, or we know Guadalcanal, or we know Gettysburg. But where in that war did that occur? And then what else happened before or after? So we're trying to put a chronological picture to the wars that the U.S. has been in. The easiest, or not the easiest one, but the one most people will be familiar with is World War II. So we'll do World War II, and we'll do a series of these over the next 4 or 5 podcasts where we'll cover a year of U.S. involvement in
I like it.
World War II. So we're starting tonight with World War II, the tail end of 1941. Okay,
but explain why you're starting in 41 and not like 39.
Because it's U.S. involvement or U.S. actions against or by the U.S.
Perfect.
Right? So we'll start with World War II, U.S. and World War II, 1941, 1942. Okay. So let's begin. Oh, before I go, I took most or a lot of this framework from a place called Duke University Libraries Digital Collections. So go check their page out. So it lays out a beautiful, without a lot of extra stuff. It just lays out events, and it's really easy to read. So
not as crazy much detail.
Not as rambling narrative as I'm going to give it.
I like it. That works.
So let's begin. Obviously, on December 7th, 1941, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. All right. Just for interesting to note, it resulted in 2,403 American deaths, including 68 civilians. So 1,178 wounded as well. So that's 3,500, right? 30,
date that will live in infamy, brother.
That's right.
For sure.
Japanese casualties were 129 killed and 1 sailor captured. I think that was that. Was that the mini sub guy? Yeah, I think that was a mini sub guy. Jeez, what a shit mission to get that. It severely damaged or destroyed 21 U.S. naval vessels and roughly 347 aircraft. All 8 U.S. battleships present were damaged, with 4 sunk or suffering catastrophic losses. Approximately 347 aircraft were also destroyed or damaged. On December 8th of 1941, the U.S. declared war on Japan. And on December 11th, Germany and Italy declared war on us.
Well, that's because Japan and Germany got together and said, hey, fellas,
we didn't want
to team up.
We're not sure we really wanted you to do that, but okay, I guess we're doing this.
We'll team up with you.
So let's get into 1942 and what our major operations were going into 1942. All right. The first was on May 7th, 1942, and that's the Battle of the Coral Sea. Who would have thought that was the first big U.S. action in World War II? Was the Battle of the Coral Sea. I had no idea.
I just didn't know when it occurred, but I'm
Right.
pretty sure that was when they just blew us out of the sky.
They did, and they didn't. Okay. Well, I mean, they did, but we succeeded strategically while they succeeded tactically. That's what it said. The Battle of the Coral Sea, May 4th through the 8th, was a pivotal World War II naval engagement in the Pacific fought between Allied, U.S., and Australian and Japanese forces. It was the first battle in history fought entirely by aircraft carriers, with the opposing surface ships never sighting or firing upon each other.
And see each other.
Isn't that fascinating? That's wild, right? So the engagement, to be brief, was Japan planned to seize strategic Port Moresby in New Guinea and Tulagi in the Solomons to isolate Australia from U.S. supply lines. May 4th, U.S. carrier planes attacked Japanese landing forces at Tulagi, destroying several ships and catching the Japanese off guard. On May 7th through the 8th was the main carrier duel. Over 2 days, opposing fleets launched massive airstrikes against each other. The Japanese sank the U.S. carrier USS Lexington, the destroyer Sims, and the oiler Neosho, while severely damaging USS Yorktown. In return, Allied planes sunk the Japanese light carrier Shoho and severely crippled the fleet carrier Shokaku. Yeah. Why did this matter? While Japan technically won a tactical victory, it was a massive strategic victory for the Allies because it deprived the Japanese of the Shokaku, that one of those carriers, and with the Zuikaku's air groups decimated, Japan was forced to cancel its seaborne invasion of Port Moresby. So it it turned them away from trying to close that supply route off to the Australians.
Well, and the other thing it did too, when Yorktown was so damaged, and they were able to turn it around so fast to put it back in service.
Yorktown wouldn't die, boy. It just would not die.
That's what I mean. Everybody was surprised to see it come back when the Battle of Midway occurred.
Right,
it was
a month
back in
later.
service. Crazy. You
and
woke that sleeping giant, baby.
Yeah. And because of this battle, those two carriers were unable to be involved in the Battle of Midway, right?
Yeah.
So that was in May. Next in June was the Battle of Midway, which we talked before the show. I had no idea it was just a month after that.
Yeah,
Man,
it was quick.
Getting to it, right? Battle of Midway fought from June 4th or June 3rd to the 7th, 1942. The Battle of Midway was a decisive World War II naval battle in the Pacific. Forewarned by broken Japanese codes, U.S. Pacific Fleet ambushed the Imperial Japanese Navy near Midway Atoll, resulting in the sinking of 4 Japanese aircraft carriers and permanently turning the tide of the war. Yeah.
Let's go, Commander Best.
I know. Caught him in between putting torpedoes or putting bombs.
Bombs, yeah.
Got him right on the deck. So
that was huge. Great battle.
June. So then we move to, let's go to August 7th, 1942. Is the U.S. offensive at Guadalcanal. I had no idea it was just this early in the campaign. Guadalcanal is the largest island in the Solomon Islands. The grueling campaign ran from August 42 to February 43. It was the first major Allied land offensive against Japan and marked a crucial turning point in the Pacific. The battle for Guadalcanal was a grueling 6-month struggle. Involved fierce land, sea, and air combat. The strategic target, both the U.S. and Japan sought control of the island's airfield, which the Americans seized and renamed Henderson Field. Controlling this airstrip meant controlling the surrounding skies and crucial supply lines. Allied forces endured harsh jungle terrain and tropical diseases. The campaign cost the U.S. roughly 7,100 men, and the Japanese over 31,000 men. God, bless. This victory shifted the momentum of the war, moving the Allies from a defensive posture to an offensive campaign. Island hopping, right? That's where it started.
Yeah. And you know who was against that?
MacArthur? Was he really? What was his plan?
That was Nimitz' plan, the island hop to move close, take the airstrips that would be allowed, for bombing of their homeland.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not real sure what MacArthur wanted to do, but it was an island hop.
MacArthur sounds like he would just be a contrarian to anybody else who submitted a plan. It's like, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
You do it my way. And they're like, what is that way, General? And he's like, I haven't got it yet, but we should do it my way. Next big involvement was August 17th was the first United States Army Air Force raid in Europe. Oof. So on August 17th, 1942, the United States Army Air Forces launched its first heavy bomber raid in Europe. Its first one.
That was our first action, right? Our first action in Europe?
Yeah, I think so. You're right.
Not ground troops, right?
No, not ground troops. It was this bombing raid. So it marked the combat debut of the 8th Air Force. 12 B-17E flying fortresses struck the heavily utilized ruined Sotteville railway marshalling yards in France. This mission was designed to test the American doctrine of high-altitude daytime precision bombing against the RAF's nighttime area bombardment. Approximately half the bombs dropped hit the target area, destroying locomotive workshops and secondary tracks. All 12 B-17s returned safely to base. 2 Allied escort fighters were lost, and 2 German fighters were shot down. And that's the whole thing. They were bombing in France. Now, most of the time you hear about the 8th Air Force, they're talking about flying over Germany.
Yeah.
So it only makes sense. We got to get them out of France first, right? So,
started in France. They occupied there first.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I wonder if they're kind of buoyed by the daytime success in France, and they're like, we can walk this to Berlin. And as soon as they hit Germany, they're like, whoa, there's a lot of anti-aircraft here.
Which was not in France.
Which was not in
France.
Not in
France. That was huge. So that success became kind of a nightmare for the 8th Air Force.
Well, I mean, they're like, keep this daytime bombing up. Look how accurate we are in daytime bombing. And they're like, well, those enemies pretty accurate when they got their guns set up.
And when the more fighters they got come up to meet you, look out, baby.
I know. Not until the P-51. Anyway. Moving on. In September. All right. In September, the Papua New Guinea campaign starts. God, this thing went forever. Allied U.S. and Australian forces halted the Japanese advance and slowly recaptured the island of New Guinea. So in early 42, the Japanese, seeking to isolate Australia, they landed on the northern coast of New Guinea and pushed toward the crucial Allied port of Port Moresby. Port Moresby.
They wanted to go.
Really wanted this thing. In July, outnumbered Australian troops fought a desperate, grinding retreat and subsequent counteroffensive along the treacherous, muddy Kokoda track to stop the Japanese from taking Port Moresby.
It's the only port to keep the American supply line coming into the Australians.
Right.
Yeah.
Australian and U.S. forces in August defended an Allied airfield at Milne Bay. This marked the first time a Japanese land invasion force was decisively defeated in the Pacific. So good on you, Aussies. Way to fight with us. In September, following the victory at Milne Bay, Allied forces pushed the Japanese back to their fortified coastal beachheads at Buna and Gona. The entrenched Japanese fought bitterly, resulting in heavy Allied casualties, but it also was a devastating loss for Japan. So they got pushed back. We took back the island. Then we fought there for forever. We fought that island.
Was New Guinea too, where they built the ridge over the River Kwai, or was that in Indonesia?
that was the prisoners of war did that, right?
Right, but I'm thinking it was during this timeline, wasn't it? I thought it was in New Guinea, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure.
That's a good question.
Well, I was just curious.
No, that's good. That's good. I'd like that. Somebody will know and comment. Hey, you.
Please tell us.
And the last major action in 1942, finally, Army, here we go. November 8th, Operation Torch, or the North African campaign. Operation Torch was a massive Allied invasion of French-controlled North Africa during World War II. That sounds weird to me. I should have took some more time to read up about what French-controlled North Africa was. So
yeah, because when you said they fought against this, and
well, they said that whole term, that Vichy French. I don't know what that means, but I know the term.
That was the other government that Germany created for the French.
It's like loyalists.
So, that's exactly right.
Or the French,
now that makes sense.
We're with you. So
yeah, the Vichy government on the other side.
And the Germans were like, go to Africa. They're like, really? Africa?
Now it makes sense. Yeah.
So that's who they were. I think that's what it was. Operation Torch was a massive Allied invasion of French-controlled North Africa during World War II, led by General Dwight D. Eisenhower. It was the first major military offensive where American and British forces fought together against Nazi Germany and its Axis powers. Over 100,000 Allied troops launched a surprise amphibious assault on three major port cities in Morocco and Algeria: Casablanca, Oran, and Algiers. The local French forces initially put up a fight, but they quickly agreed to a ceasefire and joined the Allies. That whole line is like, okay, we're on your side now, buddy.
We see where this is going.
Yeah. I've been on your side the whole time.
Yeah.
Securing North African ports cleared the Mediterranean Sea for Allied shipping, drastically shortening vital supply routes. By gaining complete control of North Africa, the Allies established a prime launch pad for their subsequent invasions of Sicily and mainland Italy. It provided inexperienced American troops with the first taste of large-scale modern warfare, preparing them for the later liberation of Europe. And that concludes your World War II timeline for 1942.
Now, and I think that's really cool. But there were all kinds of little battles in between.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
right.
Of course.
But these major operations is what we wanted to highlight for everybody, because that's where things really got started, especially for the U.S. involvement.
Yeah, and some of those little operations were leading into or getting into position or side attacks or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, those were the major building blocks. And so that frame of reference, just from going through there, I had no idea where the Navy did so much so early.
Oof.
Yeah. That was
they were our striking the spear, because the Army was not even trained.
Yeah, we weren't
well
ready.
Equipped yet. We weren't ready. Yeah.
We're still barging tanks over there.
We were running around with sticks as guns for a little while training.
We're just gonna get busy over here, right? Yeah. So, but the Japanese kind of forced them to. They're moving against Australia. So
when you turn the Yorkton around, that was so damaged in a month, and put her back into service.
Right. We did that when we did our carriers, right?
That's American power there, baby.
Or at least I learned more about that when we did our best carriers. So
that was huge.
All right, Eric, take us home with some unheralded history.
Well, what's funny? We were speaking about MacArthur, and my history happens to be about MacArthur. I wanted to talk about a general's egotistical flaws and failures, and at the same time to become such a success. So I wanted to give you some history notes on Mr. MacArthur.
I'm right. Nice.
Yeah.
Good variance there.
It was kind of unique when we talked about it in your segment. Now in this, it was General MacArthur, one of the most celebrated military leaders in U.S. history, had a storied career marked by brilliance and victory. However, his career was not without significant missteps and failures. Wow. And I wasn't aware of how big some of those were, but they created a lot of problems. A lot of people were dead. Battles were extended because of his failures.
Really?
So analyzing his military mistakes offers a valuable lesson for modern leaders, emphasizing the importance of adaptability, logistical planning, and emotional intelligence. So I'm going to go through these real quick with you.
Okay.
His early career was messed up with tactical oversights. MacArthur's early career in the Philippines was marked by tactical oversights that ultimately contributed to his eventual removal from command.
Yeah.
I was not aware he had ever been removed, other than when Truman, threatened it at the very end of World War II. His rigid adherence to traditional warfare tactics, particularly in the Battle of Manila in 1899, led to unnecessary casualties. He failed to leverage local knowledge and instead relied on outdated strategies, demonstrating a lack of adaptability to the changing battlefield.
Did you say 1899?
1899, the Battle of Manila.
Wow.
Yeah, man's been around a while. This phase highlighted the dangers of stubbornness in leadership, a lesson still relevant in modern military and business contexts today.
Right.
Key tactical mistakes. Over-reliance on artillery. MacArthur was heavily relied on artillery. His emphasis on heavy artillery in Manila resulted in high civilian casualties and ineffective combat. Ignoring guerrilla tactics, he failed to anticipate Filipino resistance strategies, leading to prolonged and costly engagements.
Yeah.
Poor coordination, lack of communication, breakdown between units, exacerbated operational inefficiencies. Because he would not allow change on the run, the adaptability piece. So the communications was a failure. Strategic missteps. The Philippines campaign went from 1899 to 1902 and was a turning point in MacArthur's career, where strategic missteps led to a prolonged conflict and loss of morale. His decision to focus on capturing Manila without securing key supply routes backfired, as it left forces isolated and vulnerable. Really? Additionally, his refusal to negotiate with Filipino leaders, despite growing resistance, prolonged the war unnecessarily. These decisions underscored the importance of flexibility and diplomacy in military operations. These are just a few things in one of his battles, and it occurred many, many times. Some of the bigger ones I wanted to highlight were his supply chain blunders. MacArthur's logistical failures were among his most costly mistakes. During the Philippine campaign, his inability to predict and manage supply shortages led to food and ammunition shortages, which demoralized troops.
Wow.
His reliance on a single supply route also made him vulnerable to ambushes and sabotage. These logistical blunders highlight the critical role of foresight and contingency planning in military operations. Does this sound like a good leader? Right? It's nothing but failures.
Right.
Morale and leadership command flaws. MacArthur's leadership style, while effective in some areas, had its limitations. His tendency to micromanage operations and his emotional outburst in high-pressure situations alienated his subordinates. Additionally, his failure to recognize and address morale issues early in the Philippines campaign contributed to discontent to the point where some even threatened his life. Whoa. Wow. These flaws illustrates the importance of emotional intelligence and delegation of leadership. Okay, so we've talked about all his failures. So in the same breath, you turn around, and I want to highlight Operation Chromite. Have you ever heard of Operation Chromite?
No.
You'll know it from another name.
Wait, this is MacArthur in the battle in the Philippine-American War in 1899. That was Arthur MacArthur.
No. I'm talking about Operation Chromite occurred, and MacArthur planned this operation at a different timeline. So you haven't heard of it, but I bet you have heard of the Incheon landing.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. For the Korean Incheon.
Operation Chromite. Right.
Oh, I just wanted to correct it because you said he was in the 1899 Philippine War, but that was Arthur MacArthur.
Oh, really?
Not Douglas MacArthur.
I thought it was
that. It was a MacArthur, yes, a Major General MacArthur, but in 1899 it was Major General Arthur MacArthur. So
I'm reading.
But I know you were talking about most of the Philippine stuff that was in World War II. So, right?
Well, this what I'm reading says Douglas. I'm looking at specifically.
Okay. Well, this one said Major General Arthur MacArthur.
No, this one talks about Doug. I'm going to give you the article. I'll let you look at it with me.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But this still says Douglas.
No, his son, Douglas MacArthur. Well, shit, maybe he was.
It says General Douglas MacArthur, one of the most celebrated military leaders, and then it goes into MacArthur's early career in the Philippines, which was what we talked about at the Battle of Manila in 1899.
Okay.
So I think I'm still right. I think so.
I'm
Okay. Well, anyway, I highlighted his failures as a leader and an ability to really manage a battle, right? It was terrible. A lot of things. But on the other hand, turn right around. He created Operation Chromite, which was the code name for the Incheon landing, a bold amphibious invasion during the Korean War.
That's true. Yeah.
Executed from 15 to 19 September. The operation aimed to recapture Seoul and cut off North Korean supply lines, reversing the momentum of the North Korean People's Army after their rapid advance into South Korea. The operation involved approximately 75,000 troops and 261 Navy vessels, including U.S. Marines, Army units, and South Korean forces supported by a multinational naval force. Now you go from 1899, a much smaller size, to this, and then you think this can't be the same guy, right? The failures that are highlighted in leadership.
Sure.
The operation was conceived by MacArthur, who advocated for a high-risk landing far behind enemy lines, despite skepticism from other U.S. military leaders. Incheon was chosen for its strategic location about 110 miles behind North Korean lines, with access to Seoul and nearby airfields. The landing required careful coordination of sea, air, and land forces, including minesweeping, amphibious ships, and carrier-based air support. Once again, we're looking at logistical supply lines, communication, coordination, and it happens perfectly in the planning and strategy of Incheon.
It's amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
Then the execution. It goes everything against what occurred early on in his career.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think his ability to learn from his mistakes, maybe, but he was still an egotistical.
He was still the same guy. Yeah. I was always amazed at the Incheon landing and how well it went.
Yeah.
And it very well could have won the war.
Yeah.
If the Chinese hadn't decided to okay,
sweep it,
let's go.
Well, and his stubbornness, he was told on a number of occasions that the Chinese would enter the war, and
he was also told not only not to do it, but not to push as far up as he did, because he was outrunning his supply too, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He's like, nope, not me. I'm gonna win this for good old Uncle Sam. Whoa. Where all these guys come from. So,
well, ultimately, Operation Chromite was a decisive UN victory. It ended a string of North Korean successes, led to the capture of 135,000 NKPA troops within a month, and demonstrated the strategic value of amphibious operations.
Yeah.
Success of the operation showcased MacArthur's leadership and the effectiveness of coordinated joint operations combining naval, air, and ground forces. It also shifted the momentum of the Korean War, allowing UN forces to advance northward and regain lost territory. So, on one hand, I'm talking about him as he needs to be fired. He needs to lose his command. In fact, he did lose his command at one time. Oh, well, General MacArthur is so good as a leader. We're going to make him take Incheon go into Seoul. It was
he was overall. Was he overall commander of the whole Korean theater? Right.
Yeah. Yep.
So he got. I mean, during World War II, he got beaten out of Philippines. Said he'll be back. 2 or 3 years later, he made it back. But
he was an egotistical maniac, man.
Sure.
And
maybe you had to be at that time. You know what I mean? Because it was, it wasn't the soft leadership that you got to exercise today. It was, we're going to war, boys.
Well, it's funny.
If you're not listening to your peers, those around you, then you got a problem.
Yeah. There was a general, I think his name was General Ellenberger, and him and MacArthur were in New Guinea, which was that BUNE that you were talking about.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'll look at
when that was going on. Yeah. Well, Ellenberger apparently took that battle and won it.
Really?
and they were going to put him on the
maybe Buna, B-U-N-A.
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Buna.
And they were going to put him on the front of the New York Times. No,
Really?
Time magazine.
Okay.
And MacArthur puts in the article to him and tells him, it was really good that you and I fought that battle. Yeah. And he was taking it from him, and he prevented this guy from being on the Time magazine on the Time.
Jesus.
Because
Yeah,
he
that's
didn't
too
want to
much.
be shown
Yeah.
up. He didn't want to
Right.
be shown up. I was
Right.
amazed.
Right.
So amazing on one hand, absolutely terrible on the other hand. It's
God,
a
we
dichotomy
could
in
go.
size, man.
That could be a whole new series we could do, Eric. The success and failures of all these top generals, right?
Right. But
Wow.
his stand out so, I don't know, in much
Well, they
vivid
affected
color.
so many people, right?
Yeah.
They
Well,
affected
and even
so
going
many
back to
people.
he was telling Truman, I don't listen to you. I do what I'm told. And Truman says, we're going to fire you and pull you out.
You're fired. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're relieved.
So, I mean, the guy never changed much of his attitude.
Yeah, I've read some of that later life biography, and it was like, this guy, he wants to attack Russia. He wants to attack everybody he can. He wants to keep war going for kind of himself.
Yeah.
And that's when the president was like, that's enough. And he's like, F you, buddy. And he's like, no, F you.
It almost makes him feel like him and Patton would have been best friends. You know what I mean?
No,
Let's
that
go
would
kick
have
the
been,
Russians' ass.
Well, yeah, true. I don't know if either one of those guys could be friends with anybody.
Their heads couldn't fit in the same room together at the same time.
And, all the other commanders too, right? Montgomery, probably Rommel.
Oh, he was crazy too. Yeah.
Interesting take. That's a good slant, Eric.
I just wanted to see the sides. Yeah.
I likes it. So we got a couple new things for the viewers at home and the listeners on listening. Jake won't know because he won't listen to it, but we do miss you, Jake. We're eagerly waiting some updates from Japan. So
some pictures too.
I know.
Cool.
Or at least publishable pictures. Maybe. What do you say? Should we call it a night, Eric?
Got it.
All right. On behalf of Eric and I and Jake in Japan, Jake Ferraro, I'd like to thank you for listening today. Please like, share, subscribe, and let us know how we did in the comments. And remember next week to... God, why do I screw that up every time? Make sure next week that you are not...
Late for changeover.
I think I've got it memorized, and then I slightly go off, and then I'm also...
Right.
Eric, good to see you. Jake, happy travels, and everyone listening and watching. Thanks for watching and listening. We'll see you next week.
Later.